Prices on new watches have gotten absolutely insane nowadays. You can often find deals from pre-owned sellers, and even if you're not buying with the intent to resell, it can still hurt knowing that as soon as you peel the stickers off, you're losing a lot of the value of that new watch, all for a nice free glass of champagne. And I love to talk about vintage and pre-owned watches on Unpolished, here on the YouTube channel and on the newsletter. But are there any watches that I would still buy new? Of course there are. Today I want to talk about 5 of them, from $250 all the way up to $60,000. There might be some surprises in there too. Before we get to my picks, before I put out this video, I put a call out to my subscribers and followers over on Instagram especially, asking if there were any watches that you would buy new, and I got tons of responses. The big brands that were mentioned the most were in this order: Longines, Tudor, Rolex, Sinn, and Nomos. I was also glad to see that there were a lot of mentions of microbrands. Some of the ones that got multiple mentions were Ferrer, Serica, Baltic, Squale. All brands that I've been really impressed by over the past few years, the value they represent, and the build quality of the watches. In this video, I'm not going to get into higher end indies, independent watchmaking, or limited editions. I'm trying to limit it to watches that are not hyped, watches that anyone could theoretically go in and buy at retail. And I know we're going to get into the watches, but I also liked some of the comments I got that were talking about the why of why we're buying watches. It's not always about getting the most value for money. I think we get lost in that when we talk about prices and value and the best watch you can get at X price point. I like some of the comments I got to this effect. Someone said, when they wrote in, they said, "Any watch I'm buying to mark a significant moment in my life, I'm buying new." I really like that idea. As much as I like pre-owned and vintage watches, I'm not going to deny that there's something special about toasting to yourself for something you've accomplished and knowing that you're the first one to put on a watch for the first time and you're creating new memories with that watch. But let's jump to the first mechanical watch that I want to talk about. It's a watch that looks like it could have been your grandfather's dress watch or maybe even his grandfather's dress watch. I'm talking about the Timex Marlin hand wound. This is a 34 millimeter modern update to a classic dress watch. It's got a hand wound movement inside. I've got one that I'm going to talk about here. It's got probably a 40-hour power reserve, I would say. I end up just winding it every morning whenever I'm wearing it or whenever I've got it in the rotation. It basically lasts for about a day and a half. There's tons of variety here. The classic one is totally fine, though. It's a great watch. It's got these cool sort of Art Deco-y numerals. It's listed at $259 on the Timex website. Timex being what it is, you should be able to get a discount off of that. I have a Timex Marlin that's a 100th anniversary special edition that they made for the New Yorker. It's kind of fun. It's got illustrations of the New Yorker or in the New Yorker style. I think it was a limited edition, but that's not even why I got it. I just thought it was a fun watch, and that's exactly the appeal of these watches. There's the classic style, and for a couple $100, you can also get some fun limited editions too. Okay, back to the bigger brands, but moving up in price. If you watched my last video, you know I've got a real penchant for field watches. And a classic in that realm is the Hamilton Khaki Field. To me, this watch isn't even really about the movement. They make it an automatic, manual, and now they have a quartz version as well that they just introduced in the past year or two. I got an extended time with those samples last year, and I really enjoyed them. To me, this watch for $445 is something I have no problem recommending buying new. And usually one of my golden rules is to buy a watch on the bracelet. But to me, a field watch, especially one at this price point, I don't think you need to buy the bracelet. Again, it compromises a little bit in quality and fit and finish. And to me, a field watch comes on a strap, or at least should go on a strap. And I think you can save yourself a little bit of money and just get one of the strap options here. They've got it in 33 and 38 millimeters. That 38 millimeter one is about 46 millimeters lug to lug. Hamilton is starting to shrink down the lug to lug measurements on some of these watches. So I really thought with my 6.5-inch wrist, I was in between. I could have gone with either of them. Maybe if I were looking for a day-to-day watch that's easy to read, I'd probably go for that 38 millimeter one, but I could have gone for either, really. The one thing I didn't like about it that I thought I'd mention is it's got a flat crystal that kind of catches the glare of the light. I wish they would have gone for a little more vintage-inspired domed acrylic crystal vibe, but this flat crystal just gives it a little bit more modern of a look that I don't think quite fits the field watch vibe. So that's the second watch. It's about $445 that I wouldn't mind buying for myself at retail. Okay, we have to talk about Tudor. I really wanted to choose the new 36mm Ranger, but after the Hamilton khaki, I feel like it would have been super boring to choose another field watch. So Tudor's really pushed up in prices the past few years, but it was the most mentioned brand when I put out a call to you all of the watches that you wouldn't mind buying at retail. And to me, Tudor is a dive watch brand, so the Black Bay 54 is still the one that I wouldn't mind buying on my own. Personally, I've got a custom Black Bay 58 that I'll never sell, but if I didn't have that, I would 100% get the Black Bay 54. And I still think at retail, it's worth it. It's worth the Tudor 5-year warranty. It's worth buying it new, knowing it's yours fresh out of the box, and you've got all of those guarantees behind it, to me. And Tudor has been, even though they've been pushing up in price, they've been doing things like adding METAS certification, making sure that T-fit is in all of their bracelets so that the clasp has micro adjust on the fly. They've been doing things to earn the price increases. So the Black Bay 58 is now $4,725 on bracelet. To me, I would still go for that classic black color. They added this blue one earlier this year at Watches and Wonders 2026. It was kind of a disappointment to me, to be honest. It's got a lot of purple undertones in it that I don't like. It doesn't look as good as the Tudor blue in the Pelagos or some of the other blues that they've done in like the Heritage Chronograph. It's a bit of a disappointment. I would go with just the black Tudor. But really, Tudor, any watch you buy at retail still, I think they earn their price point. Okay, I want to move away from Swiss brands now. I want to go over to Glashütte, Germany. One of my favorite brands, the first nice watch I ever bought for myself was a Nomos Tangente 10 years ago or something now. I think I probably paid 1,000, maybe 1,200 bucks for it. I bought it new, and there are still a ton of watches across the Nomos range that I wouldn't mind picking up new. Tangente, Orion, even those club watches. But I want to talk about the one that they introduced just last year. This is the Club Sport Neomatic World Timer. Surely you've seen this watch by now. This is the 40mm World Timer. They claim that it is the thinnest automatic world timer on the market. I haven't been able to find anything to dispute their claim. It's just under 10 millimeters thick. So they did a bunch of great limited editions last year, but the standard production models, there was a silver and a blue, were a bit lacking to me. Thankfully, they updated it this year with a easily the most Nomos feeling colorway of them yet. It's that classic sort of silver white dial. It's really an opaline look. It does have this kind of opaline texture to it. It's not a sunray finish, but a textured opaline. And then the subdials are this nice light blue and pale red. It really looks nice. This is a watch that costs $5,400 on bracelet. Again, Nomos, they've started introducing bracelets over the past few years. They're still lacking a little bit to me, especially at the $5,000 price point. You could get a Tudor watch on a bracelet, that Black Bay 58 I was just talking about, or 54 in this case. The bracelets feel a little bit higher quality. They've got micro adjust. Something about these Nomos bracelets, they're just a little bit lower in quality. They feel a little bit flimsy. You really feel it in the clasp. There's not the micro adjust that you would expect at this price point, and it just doesn't feel as secure, as well made. The fit and finish isn't quite there. I don't like the polished middle or center links. That's a bit of a personal thing. But beyond that, the Nomos Club Sport World Timer is one of the best, most interesting watches you can find around this $5,000 price point. I'm going to jump from my Nomos pick at $5,400 all the way to my last pick that's $63,000. If it feels like it's a bit of a jump, that's because I'm only featuring 5 of the 10 watches that I wrote about in my newsletter that I think are actually worth buying at retail. So if you want all of the picks that I wouldn't mind buying at retail from Rolex, from Cartier, from Longines, a few other watch brands, go ahead and sign up at unpolishedwatches.com. It's free to sign up, though you can become a paid subscriber. Paid subscribers get 2 newsletters a week. They also get 10% off from the Unpolished store. That's where we sell a great selection of US made and US stitched straps. Right now we have a beautiful matte calfskin strap in a variety of colors, as well as what I think is the best canvas strap on the market. It's not lined, which makes it nice and thin and comfy, perfect for the summer months that you're probably going through right now. Both of these look great on any number of watches you're buying at retail, or if you're buying them at pre-owned. No judgment either way. Check out everything at unpolishedwatches.com. Okay, for my last pick, we're staying in Glashütte, Germany, but we're moving all the way up in the price ladder. You already know that this probably means Lange and Sinn, and we're talking about a $63,000 calendar that they just released this year. Now, I just got a bunch of hands-on time with this watch. Again, I wrote about it in a real review, as I'm calling it, in the newsletter, where I talk about all the pros and cons of it. But at $63,000, I still think it's a really impressive watch. You're going to look on the websites that sell these pre-owned watches, and you're going to be able to find that the previous edition of this, you can find it for a fraction of that price now, $30,000, $40,000. So you might say, Tony, why are you buying this watch at $63,000? But I really do think that the updates they made are worth it. First of all, it's all about the size. They shrunk it down from 38.5 to 36 millimeters, and it's now about 9.8 millimeters thick. It's super thin, just enough heft that you want in a Lange & Söhne to make you feel like you're wearing a nice quality piece of German engineering and German watchmaking, but it's super slim, exactly what you want from a dress watch. It comes in pink gold or white gold. To me, that pink gold paired with a slick gray dial is the one to choose. And in that review I wrote, I've compared it to a number of different calendars. To me, the closest comps are these perpetual calendars from neo-vintage watches from Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, Audemars Piguet. I compared it to the 3940, one of the most classic dress watches from Patek Philippe. I think something to point out is that practically speaking, there's probably not a ton of difference between an annual calendar and a perpetual calendar, even if you're setting your watch. And this annual calendar is so easy to set. They've added a trigger or a button at 10 o'clock so that you can easily advance the day and the date, which really is an upgrade to the previous. You don't have to fiddle with the crown all the time, or like you would have to do fiddling with pushers on one of those neo-vintage watches that I compare it to. Like I said, it's still not a perfect watch, but to compare it to a 3940 is one of the highest compliments I think you can pay any calendar watch. And for me to be saying that 2 months on, I've had time to sit with it now. I don't think I'm still in the fog of watches and wonders where everything feels new and shiny and I want it. I think I've had time to reason with this watch, and I still think it's a beautiful thing. But that's my defense for why I'd still spend $63,000 on this Lange & Söhne. If you think I'm crazy, let me know in the comments. Fair enough. So let's get into it. Those are 5 watches from $250 all the way up to $63,000 that I think are worth buying new. Let me know what I missed. Of course, I also have watches from Cartier, Rolex, and others. That's in the full article. The link is below. And one thing I noticed when I was putting together this list is that there was a real dearth of watches from, say, $10,000 to $25,000 that I think are worth buying new. This is the classic middle ground that would have been occupied by brands like IWC, Jaeger-LeCoultre, and others. And I've noticed this before. That's why I did a video a few weeks ago on dress watches from that neo-vintage era that I do think are worth buying. These are watches from Patek Philippe, Lange & Söhne, Chopard, watches that I do think are worth buying in that $10,000 to $25,000 category that I think these new watch brands are leaving behind. But that's it for today. If you're just following us now, please throw a like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.